What do your fears mean? What do your fears mean? From the famous speech of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Meaning that anything more, fear is only here to keep you alive. Anything more is just your own mind being used against you. There's a lot of fears that we have and that we create in life. There's things that we come across and we realize that it scares us and we become scared of it. But there are also fears that we have that are just embedded within us. And it seems that we have no real reason to have these fears, but yet we do. Like maybe you've never fell out of a tree or anything, or off a house while doing something or anything, and yet you still have a major fear of falling. You know, maybe you have a major fear of snakes and you never had an instance where anything ever bit you. You know, you have no real reason for it. Or maybe you have a fear of, being lost. Or maybe you have a fear of, airplanes. Or maybe you have a fear of the ocean. You know, there's so many things. And the reason for this is, it's just the same as when souls, if you believe that souls have skills that they pass over from other lifetimes, that's why people are just talented at things, but skill still beats talent because effort and willpower is still what brings those skills to be brought through the next lifetime. Like the willpower is what made those things stable enough to be something that your soul recognizes in the next lifetime and can easily jump into the energy of. So with that, even things that we have that are good that come from past lives, we have things that are not so good that come from past lives. Of course, like generational traumas, that's a little bit different because it's a physicality to that. But you relate to certain things. Your soul relates to certain things, and that's why you end up in certain families. But I'm getting off track. Anyway, the same reason that you have skills from other lifetimes and you just pick them up and you seem talented at it is the same reason why you have fears that for no reason, it's never happened to you, it's never been an instance like that, but yet you're very scared of this. That is because in your past lifetimes, if you believe in that, in one of them, you passed away in one of those ways. So your spirit is extremely cautious and terrified at the same time of being around being put in that same circumstance. So that is why like people have all those random fears and they've never even had anything happen. I even have some myself, I figured out that that's what I came to the conclusion that this had happened in a past lifetime because I had very little experience, almost to none, with what I was scared of the most. And it just took deep reflecting and self-understanding and diving into that emotion and trying to understand myself more, and then meditation helps. It can give you flashes, dreams, give you stuff. You watch certain readers, and tarot readers or just channelers, and they can tell you things that you didn't know based upon if you resonate with what they're actually saying or not. You don't want to force things. But anyway, that is what your fears mean. Fear is only here to keep you alive. So the deep fears we have that are unreally recognized in this lifetime as something that's makes sense, logical, those came from the past. And then those fears that you do have of something that could happen now from things that you've actually had happen, like maybe you had a friend that got hurt in a firework accident or at work or, something of the sort. Now you're very wary of something, or maybe a friend got electrocuted and you're very wary of something. There's all types of things that could happen. Maybe happen to you, so, but fear is only here to keep you alive. Anything else is just your mind. You don't want fear to overpower you and put you in a point of that's what you're living through, because then you're not living. We're not here to be afraid and just suffer all the time. That's not why we're here. We have things that we have to rise to. We have to meet ourselves, and that takes a lot. It's all love, everybody. What do your fears mean?